Shell. I don't think I have any words in which to tell the meeting of the mother and daughters. Such hours are beautiful to live, but very hard to describe, so I will leave it to the imagination of my readers, merely saying that the house was full of genuine happiness and that Meg's tender hope was realized. For when Beth woke from that long healing sleep, the first object on which fell, fell, her eyes fell were the little Rose and mother's face. Too weak to wonder at anything, she only smiled and nestled close into the loving arms about her, feeling that the hungry longing was satisfied at last. Then she slept again, and the girls waited upon their mother, for she would not unclasp the thin hand which clung to hers even in sleep. Hannah had dished up an astonishing breakfast for the traveller, finding it impossible to vent her excitement in any other way, and Meg and Joe fed their mother like dutiful young Stokes, what a word, while they listened to her whispered account of father's state. Mr. Brooks promised to stay and nurse him. The delays which the storm occasioned, what a word. Let me highlight it. I may take it to occasioned on the homeward journey, and the unspeakable comfort Laurie's hopeful face had given her when she arrived, worn out with fatigue, anxiety, and cold. What a strange yet pleasant day that was, so brilliant and cheerful without for all the world seem abroad to welcome the first snow, so quiet and reposeful. Reposeful, what a word. Let me highlight it, have it. Reposeful within, for everyone slept, spent with watching and a sparse stillness. Sparse, what a word. Is this something? Is it a word? Do I need to have it? I think so. Sparse stillness reigned through the house, while nodding Hannah mounted guard at the door. With a blissful sense of burdens lifted off, Meg and Joe closed their weary eyes and lay at rest, like storm-beating boats safe at an anchor in a quiet harbour. Mrs. March would not leave Beth's side, but rested in the big chair, waking often to look at, touch, and brood over her child, like a miser over some recovered treasure. Laurie, meanwhile, posted off to comfort Amy and told his story to Will that Aunt March actually sniffed herself and never once said, "I told you so." Amy came out so strong on this occasion that I think the good thoughts in the little chapel really began to bear fruit. She dried her tears quickly, restrained her impatience to see her mother, and never even thought of the turquoise ring. When the old lady heartily agreed in Laurie's opinion, behaved like a capital little woman. Even Polly seemed impressed, for he called her "good girl," blessed her buttons, and begged her to come here. In his most affable tone, she would very gladly have gone out to enjoy the bright wintry weather, but discovering that Laurie was dropping with sleep in spite of manful efforts to conceal the fact. She persuaded him to rest on the sofa while she wrote a note to her mother. She was a long time about it, and when she returned, he was stretched out with both arms under his head, sound asleep, while Aunt March had pulled down the curtains and sat doing nothing in an unusual fit of benignity. I don't know. So I'm gonna have it. Benignity. I think it's benignity. After a while, they began to think he was not going to wake till night, and I'm not sure that he would, had he not been effectually roused by Amy's cry of joy at sight of her mother. There probably were a good many happy little girls in and about the city that day, but it is my private opinion that Amy was the happiest of all. When she sat in her mother's lap and told her trials, receiving consolation and compensation in the shape of approving smiles and fond caresses. They were alone together in a little room, to which her mother did not object when its purpose was explained to her. On the contrary, I like it very much, dear, looking from the dusty rosary to the well-worn little book, and the lovely picture with its garland of evergreen. It is an excellent plan to have some place where we can go to be quiet when things vex or grieve us. There are a good many hard times in this life of ours, but we can always bear them if we ask help in the right way. I think my little girl is learning this. Yes, mother. And alrighty. And when I go home, I mean to have a corner in the big closet to put my books and a copy of that picture which I've tried to make. The woman's face is not good. It is too beautiful for me to draw, but the baby is done better, and I love it very much. I like to think he was a little child once, for then I don't seem so far away, and that helps me. As Amy pointed to the smiling Christ child on his mother's knee, Mrs. March saw something on the lifted hand that made her smile. She said nothing, but Amy understood the look, and after a minute's pause, she added gravely, I wanted to speak to you about this, but I forgot it. Aunt gave me the ring today. She called me to her and kissed me and put it on my finger and said I was a credit to her, and she'd like to keep me always. She gave that funny guard to keep the turquoise on, as it is too big. I'd like to wear them, mother. Can I? They're very pretty, but I think you're rather too young for such ornaments. Oh, alrighty, I'm gonna have this one. Amy, said Miss March, looking at the plump little hand with band of sky blue stones on the forefinger and the quaint guard formed of golden hands clasped together. Not to be vain, said Amy. I don't think I like it only because it is so pretty, but I want to wear it as the girl in the story wore her bracelets, to remind me of something. Do you mean Aunt March? Asked her mother, laughing. No, to remind me not to be selfish. Amy looked so earnest and sincere about it that her mother stopped laughing and listened respectfully to the little plan. I've thought a great deal lately about my bundle of naughties, and being selfish is the largest one on it. So I'm going to try hard to cure it if I can. Beth isn't selfish, and that's the reason everyone loves her and feels so bad at the thought of losing her. People wouldn't feel half so bad about me if I was sick, and I don't deserve to have them. But I'd like to be loved and missed by a great many friends, so I'm going to try and be like Beth all I can. I'm apt to forget my resolutions, but if I had something always about me to remind me, I guess I should do better. May I try this way? Yes, but I have more faith in the corner of the big closet. Wear your ring, dear, and do your best. I think you will prosper, for the sincere wish to be good is half the battle. Now I must go back to Beth. Keep up your heart, little daughter, and we will soon have you home again. That evening, while Meg was writing to her father to report the traveller's safe arrival, Jo slipped upstairs into Beth's room, and finding her mother in her usual place, stood a minute, twisting her fingers and her hair, with a worried gesture and an undecided look. "What is it, dearie?" asked Mrs. March, holding out her hand with a face which invited confidence. "I want to tell you something, mother." "Meg? How quickly you guessed." "Yes, it is about her, and thought it is a little thing. It fidgets me. Beth is asleep. Speak low, and tell me all about it. That Moffat hasn't been here, I hope?" asked Mrs. March, rather sharply. "No, I should have shut the door in his face if he had," said Jo, settling herself on the floor at her mother's feet. "Last summer Meg left a pair of gloves over at the Lawrences, and only one was returned. We all forgot about it, till Teddy told me that Mr. Brooke had it. All right. He kept it in his waistcoat pocket, and once it fell out, and Teddy joked him about it, and Mr. Brooke owned that he liked Meg, but didn't dare say so. She was so young, and he so poor. Now, isn't it a dreadful state of things? Do you think Meg cares for him?" asked Mrs. March with an anxious look. "Mercy me, I don't know anything about love and such nonsense," cried Jo, with a funny mixture of interest and contempt. In novels, the girls show it by staring and blushing, fainting away, growing thin, and acting like fools. Now, Meg does not do any of the sort. She eats and drinks and sleeps like a sensible creature. My face when I talk about that man, and only blush a little bit when Teddy jokes about lovers. I forbid him to do it, but he doesn't mind me as he ought. All right, let me see how many minutes. 14. Incredible. I think I'm gonna stop, maybe. Or shall I continue? I shall continue with this bit. "Then you fancy that Meg is not interested in John?" "Who?" cried Jo, staring. "Mr. Brooke. I call him John now. We fell into the way of doing so at the hospital, and he likes it." "Oh dear, I know. You'll take his part. He's been good to father, and you won't send him away. But let Meg marry him if she wants to. Mean thing to go pitting papa and helping you, just to wheedle well, word, weasel you into liking him. And Jo pulled her hair again with a wrathful tweak. My dear, don't get angry about it, and I will tell you how it happened. How it happened. John went with me at Mr. Lawrence's request and was so devoted to poor father that we couldn't help getting fond of him. He was perfectly open and honourable about Meg, for he told us he loved her, but would earn a comfortable home before he asked her to marry him. He only wanted our leave to love her and work for her, and the right to make her love him if he could. He is a truly excellent young man, and we could not refuse to listen to him. But I will not consent to Meg engaging herself herself so young. Of course not. It would be idiotic. I knew there was mischievous brewing. I felt it, and now it is worse than I am. I just wish I could marry Meg myself and keep her safe in the family. This odd arrangement made Mrs. March smile, but she said gravely, Jo, I confide in you. You don't wish you to, you don't, and don't wish you to, oh my word, and don't wish you to say anything to Meg yet. When John comes back and I see them together, I can judge better for her feelings toward him. She'll see his in those handsome eyes that she talks about, and then it will be all up with her. She's got such a soft heart. It will melt like butter in the sun if anyone looks sentimentally at her. She read the short reports he sent more than she did your letters, and pinched me when I spoke of it, and likes brown eyes and doesn't think John an ugly name, and she'll go and fall in love. And there's an end of peace and fun and cozy times together. I see it all. They'll go lovering around the house, and we shall have to dodge. Okay, dodge. Meg will be absorbed and no good to me anymore. Rook will scratch up a fortune somehow, carry her off, and make a hole in the family, and I shall break my heart. Everything will be okay, how to pronounce this word? Abominably. I'm gonna have it. Alright. Abominably uncomfortable. Oh dear me. I'm gonna stop in here.